Good
Brilliant.
morning, and I'm here today with Chris James from Heritage Farm Remedies, and very excited to record this interview. It literally is blind. We've only just met 5 minutes ago. We've swapped a few emails. You started to tell me your story, and I just said, look, let's just record because I can tell it's the kind of thing that we're going to want to share. We don't want to repeat it. I think it's much better to get the authentic and original conversation. I'll chip in and ask questions where I can, if that's okay. But Heritage Farm Remedies have been helping people to understand and recover from toxic overloads. And in the little bit you've told me, you almost stopped doing what you're doing, but you've recently had two major successes with two children, and I think that's reason enough to carry on doing what you're doing, and we'd love to share this with our audience and as far and wide as we can do. So huge welcome, Chris. It's lovely to have met you 5 minutes ago, and I we've already had some tears, haven't we, in that short time. So
That's right.
I think it's great to have you here, and let's just start with giving me a bit of background. And you're from Germany. Your
Yes,
wife's German. Your children were born in Germany. So, and then you moved back here. Was it 2015?
it was indeed. Yes, we basically I'm a construction guy, civil guy. Worked overseas, 12 countries in 25 years. Lots of injections, lots of toxic environments, lots of hazardous environments, and exposed to a lot of um, difficult things. Um, in about 2010, I was given a detox by my wife. It was 30-day detox.
And
It
your
was
wife's a nurse, isn't she, by
she
trade?
was
Yeah.
she's not a nurse anymore, but she's also done help of long-term mentally and physically disabled people. But and she decided not to join the NHS over here for a number of reasons, um, which has turned out to be advantageous, shall we say, because she's put her efforts into studying and learning more and more about detoxes, nutrition, and many other things, which are
Nice.
helping people more and more the more we speak with people. And of course, we're trying to get out the message to as many people as possible. So yes, so I took a detox, and I had 4 days of migraine. I was in bed for 4 days. I didn't want to touch anything. I didn't want to drink anything. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want daylight. And that was the first 4 days of the 30-day detox I did. And what that appears to have been was a removal of heavy metals and toxins from my body, mostly from my brain to start with. And the mental fog cleared.
Wow.
And then roll forward several years, a number of years, and we're over here. And we had some experiences during the lockdown where um, I ended up going to a dentist's while my wife had an emergency extraction. I was waiting in the waiting room, and a number of elderly people came in saying they just had a number of things and going on, and they just dealing with their problems, and then the dentist as well. And we got home about 6 o'clock in the evening, and I was going down with flu. Long bone joint aches and pains,
Yeah.
and generally feeling really, really groggy. And that's came on just in that afternoon of being sat in the waiting room.
Mm.
So my wife turned around um, and said, "Take the detox, and we have a bath detox." So she said, half an hour, 45 minutes of in hot water, enough to make you sweat, with some of these detox powders in there. So I did that, and I had the bath and was still feeling a bit ropey. Got better, got out of the bath, got dried, still hot and steaming, as it were. Put on
Yeah.
my pajamas because I thought I'm going to have 2 weeks of lying in bed and feeling sorry for myself. So anyway, at 10:30 that night, my wife went to bed and I was up for another hour and a half. and turned in eventually because I was feeling not bad actually. I got up in the morning, still felt a little bit sore. Susanna, my wife, turned around and said, "Have another bath." So I did. Had another bath. Didn't look back. Got dressed. Everything perfectly all right. Detox,
Fabulous.
detoxed within the first 24 hours, and that's interesting. Said about it to a friend. He said, "You've got a business there." And I said, "Well, yeah, but I'm not a salesman. I'm not a marketer. I'm an engineer." He said, "Yes, but you've got a product that will help people." And since then, we brought in a couple of other things. One was a drink detox, which is zeolite, clinoptilolite, and psyllium husk. And the psyllium husk is what's used to make the gloopy drinks for smoothies and things. It's
Mm.
a natural product. We use an organic supplier, and we mix it in a certain ratio. And what it does is we recommend taking a detox just before turning in to go to sleep for the night. And if you take it then, it's a teaspoon which you mix into a glass of water or a glass of juice if you don't like the flavor or whatever. And you take it, which means that you're lying fairly still through the rest of the night. You're not having drinks, you're not eating other things and all the rest. So it
Mm.
does the maximum detox. But you'll find there's quite a lot of zeolite in that single teaspoon because it's about 5 grams of material in the teaspoon mix. You just down it because it's just of a no taste bland thing,
Yeah.
but it does the job. Like most good things for medicine, it does the job when it tastes awful. So we end up with um, taking the detox in the nighttime, and we recommend a 30-day course, but we also
Mm.
do a 7-day introductory one for a very modest price. And and what we do is we get it out to people as quickly as possible. And we find that the response has been remarkable. We've got responses. We've got people saying about their bodily functions and things, which is a complete stranger saying, "Oh, I've been to the loo and it's an easier movement, and and I have some swelling and inflammation in my intestines, and it's easier, and there's less inflammation in my body." And I'm being careful about some of the words I'm using here, I hope. But and then they're coming back and saying, "I've got no brain fog. I've got greater clarity." And it may take a few days or a few weeks. But if they do the 30-day detox course, what we found as well is when you eat processed or highly processed food, it leaves a plaque in the lining of your intestine. This plaque is basically a slime, and it stops your nutrients from being absorbed by your body because it puts a line between your food and the blood barrier in blood membrane barrier in your intestine.
Mm.
So after 1, 2, or 3 weeks, depending on how much slime you've got, that sort of comes out of your body. It's pretty gross stuff, and you think you've got diarrhea, but no, actually what happens is afterwards people are eating food and they're absorbing their nutrients and they're getting healthier, and it's
Energy.
fantastic. Yes. So if I go back to the two boys that we helped not long before Christmas and since, is that both boys have autism. One boy has just turned 10. The other boy is 16. They're not related. They're in different families, different part of the country. The 10-year-old was born um, and started living in an apartment which had damp in it
Mm.
and was adversely affected by the damp. And the mother was beside herself for a number of years, several years. And the child was suffering. Now, I don't know all of the ailments, but her words, which we've quoted on our website now, has said, "I thank God the day I found your website, because we had an interaction. We responded several times for emails backwards and forwards to explain or help her understand what, why, when, and how a detox could help from this way." And of course, the first thing we do is do no harm. Hippocratic oath for my wife, Hippocratic oath for me, whether I'm medical or not, and I'm not medical, but I've got a fair amount of experience of being in silly places and illnesses from around the world.
Mm.
Having said that, um, the child's been recovering, and it's been profound,
Amazing.
and she's thanked us. The other child is 16, Daniel, his name is, and he has Down syndrome, but he also had something when he was 3 years old, which
Yeah,
has caused him to have autism within a matter of days.
yeah,
And since then, he's been struggling, and he wouldn't have eye contact. He wouldn't be able to interact. He doesn't speak,
yeah.
um, although he makes noises. And I saw him originally before he started taking the detox, and he would stand for hours at a time with a piece of string, waggling it around, uh, intrigued and besotted. But um, he uh, he started taking the detox. So the next time I saw him, I said, "Hello, Dan." He was sat in the back of the car, and he turned round and he looked at me, and held out my hand, and we shook hands, and he murmured something. He's incoherent, but he was trying to say something. The last time I saw him, um, he's actually now able to feed himself. It might be rudimentary, but he's feeding himself. He was never been able to feed himself since in his life. So
Yeah,
now he's playing
yeah.
catch up, and
That's just amazing.
not only that, he started speaking, and while he's not saying words, he's trying to form the words in his mouth. He's trying to communicate, and
Incredible.
we almost stopped before Christmas because we sell so little of this, and there's so many other um, so-called detoxes out there which are pushed at high prices
Mhm,
and are
mhm.
not so effective. And but one thing led to another. We've helped two children and a number of adults, and this is where the tears Lisa
Yeah.
mentioned were earlier, because even though we're just a couple of us doing this, this is absolutely worthwhile, and it's remarkable.
Sorry, I just muted myself because the dogs are barking. It's an amazing story, and I'm so thankful that you didn't stop. Like you say, to help one child is reason enough to carry on. But
Yes,
the successes that you're now seeing, and you're a personal testimonial to
yes,
what you've achieved.
yeah,
So I think it's really important that we get this out to people. Like you say, there's a lot of detoxes out there on the market, and I think people need guidance, and they don't need to be spending huge amounts of money.
that's it.
Part of the PHA is to make things affordable for everybody. So
Absolutely.
we
Uh,
shouldn't be, good health is a right. It shouldn't be a privilege. And if you
exactly. You
find
don't need to be a millionaire. You don't need to be a wealthy person to be able to do this detox. Not at all.
fantastic.
This is we kept it deliberately so. It's simple. The packaging is simple. The cost of postage have gone up recently, which is difficult,
Crazily. I didn't
crazily, yeah.
realize until
But
recently.
we use Royal Mail because they deliver every day. Or sorry, maybe not Sundays, but deliver every
It's
day,
6 days. Yeah.
and they know where everybody is.
Yes. Yeah.
A little disconcerting, maybe, but at least the packages get there. So, yes, so we use Royal Mail first class delivery on most of all of our stuff that we
And
send out.
and do people have your support if they are detoxing and they have questions along the
Oh,
way?
absolutely, and we'll give thorough individual responses. While more information goes up on the website we haven't had a FAQ, but we'll add an FAQ shortly as more and more people say things. We've got to be careful because we're helping people from numerous things that are coming in. Lipids lipid fat cells in the bloodstream have been removed by the same detox. Inflammation in people's joints has been reduced.
Yeah.
Um, um, Things like not just the brain fog, but then we found that in doing the research, much of the research we've done is on the NIH website. So there's more than 1,100 peer-reviewed papers on zeolite and zeolite clinoptilolite. There's one or two negative ones out there, but they don't seem to be true. There's something unusual about them, or who's written them, where they come from.
Yeah.
But out of the 1,100, there might be one or two documents which go against it. But we do a lot of research. A lot of it I don't understand because we're
Yeah.
talking about chemical formulas and all the rest. But there's a lot of summaries and a lot of information out there. Thoroughly recommend anybody going in,
I
do the
think
research.
it's so important for people to do their own research, isn't it?
Absolutely, we
We
recommend it.
we can signpost, but please, do your own research. It's
That's
important
right.
that we all take that responsibility and make our own minds upon things.
That's right. We're not here to force anybody to do anything. We're trying to guide to, let's say, look, we've had a number of successes for our own personal health and still for our own personal health.
Mhm.
Um, you know, there's chemicals and toxins we're exposed to every day of the
Yeah.
week, whether it's washing up liquid or whether it's what's in the skies or what's in our
Water.
environment, water. Oh, water. Okay, here we go. We do the Z bag. It's a tea bag with
Oh gosh.
Z bag with tea bag with zeolite in it, which you put into a bottle of water from the tap, and it detoxes the tap water. It doesn't filter the tap water, but it takes the toxins out. The zeolite, if people don't know, is a negatively charged particle, um, especially when it's done clean and everything else. And it attracts the positively charged particles, which are heavy metals, aluminium, toxins, um, medication in the water, which
Yeah.
is not taken
Yeah.
out by the treatment systems. And it's like, oh, I wonder where all those toxins that people are taking in coming from.
Absolutely.
And we have it in tap water and
Fertilizers.
fertilizers, you name it, everything. You could be
Yeah.
doing some painting, you could be standing, filling your car with petrol or diesel, and you're exposed to the fumes.
Yeah.
It does that as well. It's
Does-
so much.
So the Z bag, it takes out the toxins. Does it also take out the electrolytes? Do you need to add a little pinch of
No, you
Celtic
don't
sea salt
know.
or?
Because the electrolytes are the right negatively charged
Right.
particles most of the time as well. We found that we have friends and acquaintances who have been using distilled water for 25 years without ill effect because it's the water they've been using. They have high levels of high quality nutrition and organic diets as best they can, but the distilled water. But this is better because it leaves many of the minerals in the water and just attracts and captures and never lets go the heavy metals and the toxins, the free radicals, the things that we get exposed to. It could be using a dipstick on an oil for your engine just to check, and you happen to get a little smudge on your fingers. Your body will absorb that through the skin, and we can even that gets taken out.
Have you done any research into spike protein and whether it's removing?
Yes,
Just going off the inflammation conversation and
yes.
you
It
know,
appears that there is a positive effect. Now, the thing about it is everybody on the planet has a different life. They have different exposures and different tolerances and all sorts of things. So to excuse me, to put it across as a blanket, this is a save all, no, but it appears to be helping.
yeah,
And it's certainly not doing any harm. But what it appears to be doing, it's possible it could be doing, is it's removing toxic overload from so many other things that your body's autoimmune system is improved to where it can help deal with its own toxic overload or a lesser toxic overload, maybe from spike proteins as well. Um, but the but we so we don't have a definitive answer. But what we are getting is that people are performing better in themselves. Their mental cognitive dissonance, their mental abilities are improved, their physical well-being is better, they're ending up with better skin conditions, or the skin conditions which have been causing adverse effects
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
reduced. They're, yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot.
There's nothing better than personal testimonials, and
Yes.
that's what you're getting, and people are being helped and they're healing. So
Yeah.
amazing. How do people find you?
Well, we're on a website, heritagefarmremedies.co.uk. We've also recently joined X, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, and we're about to go onto Substack as well with some of some interviews, I guess. Um,
Fabulous.
we've been doing some interviews in the last couple of few weeks, and they should be up very shortly.
Well,
The
we can share all those in the description when this recording goes out, and we'll make sure that people can get hold of you, right, and follow you on your socials,
Thank you.
which is fantastic. And yeah, any final words, Chris?
Final words.
Just
We'd
keep
love,
helping people.
yeah, we just want to keep helping people, and it's helped me. My wife saved my life on a number of occasions for a number of reasons. Um, I've been irradiated, and this has helped me. If you get irradiated, the radiation stays in your body for 11 years, I gather. Uh, it's feasible that this can be taken out in under a month with a detox.
You know, you had that experience due to your work, but
Yes.
people are being exposed to radiation all the time, aren't they? In
Yeah.
in our
In
daily
various,
in our daily life.
well, in our daily lives, and also for various treatments they might receive,
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
along with other aspects.
Traveling, traveling
Traveling,
through
yes,
airports, and
through airports. Yeah, there's so much, and
yeah,
what we
that we
found is
don't always recognize as toxic because
we're exposed to it all the
can't see
time.
it. It's
That's
like
right.
EMFs, isn't it? I mean, people
That's right.
don't see it, they can't smell it, they can't hear it, they don't see it. Then
Yeah,
it just
that's
makes
right.
it's not bothering me. So
Well, some advice maybe. Keep detoxing.
yeah,
My wife and myself have been detoxing for years, but we've been detoxing 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, with a little glass of detox powders or a detox bath. And if you don't have a bath, use a foot bath. For the elderly people who have a bowl, put
great
your feet
idea.
into some warm water, or if you can't even do that, put your hands into a sink with a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of detox, because the pores on your feet are the largest pores on your body,
Wow.
and you can absorb and have a flow of toxins removed that way,
Yeah.
and or even your hands if you're unable to move or get out of bed or something, do something like that. But even when we wash with water from the tap, we put a little bit of detox powder into a sink to wash, and all of a sudden you don't have dry skin. You don't need
Mm,
the same amount of moisturizers and things,
mm,
because your skin's not getting dried from
mm.
what's in the water. And we're being sold clean water, and it's not clean,
Well,
not by a long shot. There's more
no,
than 3,500 toxins in most people's
yeah,
water supply, and it's massive. So
absolutely.
keep detoxing all the time, and now more than ever.
I'm loving these tips. Great way to end. I know we said final words, but I think the tips
Sorry.
are great because I think people need to have, it's you can go really deep dive into this and think, oh my gosh, where do I even begin? And it's those tips that gives you a way to start. Just start with the simple things.
Yeah, and
Um,
just so you know, we just so you got it. There's a little 7-day detox pouch. Okay, little window. We pop that in the post. It's a fiver to buy. I
yeah,
know this is available on Google and via Google and all the rest, but that just gives somebody a start.
yes,
Or what somebody does is normally buy, we got a tub here. That's a 30-day detox. It's usually about 32 days in there.
Right.
That's 30 days, once a day for 32 days. And then some people buy one of these for friends, or to give for them to have a try.
What a great gift.
Yes,
What a
absolutely.
great gift. Brilliant idea. I love that. Fantastic. Well, I'm really, really pleased that we've had this conversation today. I think it's wonderful. I'm going straight to the website now and ordering. And
Brilliant.
yeah,
Thank you.
I'll keep you posted on how it's going. But if anyone's got any questions, we'll obviously share your website and socials. But any
If they've got any
questions?
questions, send in an inquiry, or that's probably the best way, because
Okay,
otherwise we end
via
up
the
being
website.
overloaded. So
Yeah,
yeah, please send in.
absolutely. Wonderful. It's lovely to meet you, Chris.
And
It
you,
really has been a pleasure, and I'm sure we'll
thank
talk
you.
again soon.
Take care.
You
Bye bye for
too.
now. Bye.